Guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Continental podcast. This is an episode with myself and Frag. It's episode 50. We discuss the USTC burn dates, the timeline, the time frame, and everything you would need to know on your journey moving forward, and all surrounding this nice price movement that we're currently going through. We discuss the different issues with the DCM, me and Frag being people that fostered this in and worked on it heavily, are noticing some real underlying issues, double noding, and we're looking at different solutions throughout this. We discuss a lot of different things and we go over a lot of current events. I hope you enjoyed this episode, folks. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment, hit the notifications bell. All of that stuff really helps the channel, it helps the algorithm, and it helps us grow. Enjoy the episode, folks, and I'll catch you later. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel for another podcast. Here we've got Frag, and I think it's a really important podcast, specifically with everything that's going on. We've got a lot of ins and outs to go through, and there's realistically just a lot to discuss. There's a lot of stuff going on. So without further ado, let's welcome Frag onto the podcast. Frag, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, how are you doing? Hope you're doing fine.
You know how the cookie crumbles, up, down, up, down, up, down. You just have to take Lunar Classic as it comes by the days at this point.
Yeah, it's a rough sale at the moment. Like I think the first year in Terra Classic was relatively easy, and now it's like going like decentralized politics is like going crazy, and it's becoming more and more stressful, I would say.
I would definitely agree. So something I've started to realize over the past few weeks is that we're a community that actually inherited a chain that has a load of like values already glued to it, an idealism, the way things should be, but we're like a totally different community trying to find our ground and figure out where we belong in this decentralized space. And I think a lot of the times we get so confused because of the way we're labeled as this decentralized chain. So it really like slims us down to a very specific route a lot of the times. Oh, we must abide by this and we have to do this. Well, it's decentralized and that's a centralized aspect. But ultimately, every decentralized chain, mostly in the cosmos, has a centralized development team, right?
Yeah, correct. That's the main problem. And I guess a lot of people would doubt that actually decentralized development is actually possible. And sometimes I'm not sure whether Terra Classic is actually the proof for that. Yeah, it's not really clear sometimes to me whether the decentralized route is really the high route or not, or whether Terra Classic is currently proving that all the centralized teams in the cosmos are right about it. But I mean, we are here to try. We are here to try to make a difference, and we can't make it better than we can try, right?
So yeah, that's it. It's not like, I think this is an important point as well. It's not like anyone who's pushing on this chain and pushing for the chain is conceding to that idea. Like, we haven't conceded to the idea that we must centralize the development team. We must do this. We're still trying to figure it out. And I think that really, it goes a long way for us, because it shows that we care about this chain a lot enough to try to keep pushing those values and to abide by them.
Yeah, correct. I mean, and it's not said that we are doing, we might do errors on the way, right? So.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I know if you're not making mistakes, right, you've got to be some kind of like Sheldon grade person, super intelligent, like another level who has a clone of you. You're going to make mistakes. This is where you actually learn the most, I think, in life, is when you get something wrong.
Correct.
Yeah. So, Frag, talk to us a little bit about this burn simulation that's going on now. I want to get this out of the way at the beginning, because I know so many people will be attending this podcast specifically for that. So I want to give it to them to begin with. Let's talk about this USTC burn. Now, for me, all right, we've paid $20,000 and then another $20,000, and they didn't even manage to get to this point of being able to burn the coins without altering the chain state.
Yeah, no. I mean, I wouldn't say it's all the thing we talked about in the beginning, right? So it's a decentralized chain, and it's really hard to get consensus about things. And so I wouldn't say that the quant team wasn't able to burn these coins. I mean, they tried, right? They put up a proposal to make a like to make like a state altering fork of the chain, and to burn these coins from existence. And I think Alex did that back then. And I mean that before that, the community already agreed that these coins should be sent to oblivion, but they kind of don't agree on the method to do it. And I think the thing that I was not aware back then is that this wallet, this 800 million USDC wallet, is actually not a like a normal wallet like you and I have. It's actually a contract, and that's the
selling factor realistically for what you've been able to do. Because if it was a wallet, this wouldn't be doable, would it? It's the fact that it's in a contract.
It would be if it was a real like a multisig or a regular multisig wallet. Then you couldn't go ahead and just delete these coins. You would have to go to the validator set and halt the chain, install a new client, and then run a handler that would burn these coins. So that would be like directly forking the code of the chain. And in this instance, we are lucky that the Risk Harbor multisig owners they decided to not go for like a regular wallet or regular multisig wallet, but for a contract that basically simulates a multisig wallet. So it's like a contract that has multiple owners, and when the contract wants to send a coin to another address, then all the signers have to agree. But yeah, it's still a contract, and this is like a very lucky circumstance.
Yeah, definitely. This was one of my arguments as well when when this all first came around, was the fact that they were stating, oh, we've lost the monomics to the wallet. And it's like, hang on a minute, you don't have monomics for this wallet. It's just an order of addresses that you put in. So, yeah. But I think we're very fortunate as a community right now to have reached a point where this is likely going to happen. The likelihood of this being denied via governance, I think, is very slim to none at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine some valid. I don't want to. I don't want to call out names, but I could imagine some validators voting no with veto on this one.
Yeah, I think that's just out of spite, though, at this point.
I mean, actually, so I don't want to like spread some. I don't want to spread any hopium. I'm very like wary about the fact. I mean, I'm interested in tech, and I'm keen on using these stock governance tools that the Cosmos SDK gives us. So, I mean, just to clear that up. So, the method through which we are going to burn the coins is basically taking, like uploading another contract to the chain, like I presented on like X. I shared the repository for the contract, uploaded it to the blockchain, and then make a so-called contract migration proposal, which is some kind of specialized proposal type, like a parameter change, but not a parameter change. And then the proposal is going to say, let's migrate this contract to another contract code. And when the proposal passes, or in the moment that the proposal passes, there's going to be a migration handler that is being triggered. That is normally when you have a contract upgrade, you want to do some stuff. You changed your state of the contract. You changed some database layout, and you need to migrate the database to the new layout. And in this case, we can use the migration handler to just take the contract balance and send it to the to this Anju wallet, to the Burn wallet. Yeah, and that's basically what is happening from the technical level.
Oh, that's good. The something that you mentioned just before this, you were saying about you didn't want to spread any hope here, and I think this is actually
correct.
This is a good point, Frag, because do you know about the last time a substantial amount of USTC was burned?
The last
this has happened. This has happened once before.
Yeah, probably. So I remember multiple occasions. Like the last time was last time was a spend proposal, sending the USDC to the Burn wallet.
I think that was to burn the community funds. I don't think that went through,
correct.
did it?
Not the recent one, but there was actually one in after May in 22. There was a proposal by Vegas to burn the USDC community pool.
Yeah, so this is
I remember correctly.
Yeah, so this is actually another burn. A lot of people forget about this. I've covered this a few times on the channel. I've got the transaction somewhere. I'll drag it up shortly. So what happened was, from what I'm aware, from what I know, there was around 12% of the supply was burned, and a tweet was sent out by LUNC now, and they said, we're going to burn this much of the supply, and Lord and behold, that much of the supply did burn. Now, what I want people to be cautious about is what happened when they did do that burn. The price crashed. I think it crashed about 100% on the burn. You can literally, you can tie it all in together. But I think there's a huge difference this time. I think this time, because we've got Binance burning, because of the positive momentum, because it's going to go through governance and people are going to be able to trade on that news. Even if it's buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing, I think you're still going to see some kind of positive movement. But I think everybody needs to be aware that this simply could be a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of situation.
Probably. Yeah, probably. So I'm not. Yeah, I'm yeah.
Frag, it's okay. It's okay. You're not responsible, but you're like, oh my god, I'm responsible for it. It's not like that. There's nothing you can do, right? It's going through the official lanes.
It's the market. It's like market psychology, and I'm not into that so too much. I'm more interested in the tech, and I'm more interested in like burning these coins because we can, basically, and we should, because when the chain was forked, or like when Terra V2 was like when it was established, then this wallet was also in the state of the genesis of the new Terra version 2. Like the one that was forked back in 22, and the wallet in question actually got like a vesting airdrop in Luna because of its balance, and all this, like on the new chain, all of this was handled like by TFL and by the risk harbor team, and they like I think they kind of left the chain. And so basically, the multisig owners of the 800 million USDC wallet, they said this money shouldn't be in existence. So because everything in liability and everything regarding the money was already handled on Luna V2. And I mean, this money is just it shouldn't be there, and that's why we need to burn it.
For me, it's always been a situation of anybody who has wanted to burn it has not really done it through the correct lanes. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer here. I knew about this way of burning it through the contract just because I'm like best friends with Strafe, and he had mentioned it a few times. And to see that it is getting to this point, it's really good. But ultimately, I think if it's played out right, because we're so close to the Binance next monthly burn, I think just the way that it could all play out, it could all land at the right time. It could be all the right ingredients we need. Now, you were saying about the V2 situation of there's actually a few wallets like this. Correct me if I'm wrong here. There's a few wallets like this.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I'm just referring to this one. Like, I don't know much about the Luna V2 history, and I just know it because I was in the chat with the multisig owners, and or like Vegas added me late, basically. So he added me to the chat when everything was already like when the burn proposal was already the burn proposals that we had earlier than when they were through. And he just asked me to add whether I could whether he could add me to the chat, and I saw it in the chat that the multisig owners are actually, they think that the money doesn't exist, because everything was handled on Luna V2.
Yeah. So I have a thesis of this whole situation of how it was supposed to actually go. I don't think Luna, for anyone specifically like the community we have, would pick the classic version up. I personally think what was supposed to happen is they launch V2, they get V2 going, and then they completely just shut down Columbus 5 and merge all of those assets in, convert everything over to Luna V2, and then just destroy the chain. That's what I think was the plan.
Yeah, basically. But with no bad intent, I think.
Of course not. Of course not. They never thought that we would, someone would pick this thing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, from everything that I've been through and what I've seen, what I've been told, what I've heard, that's what makes the most logical sense from my viewpoint is definitely that it was all supposed to just get merged in, but now they can't do that. There would be far too much backlash. So time frame wise, what are we looking at on this burn?
Yeah, the time frame is like so tonight the testnet proposal is going to pass, like very late, and then I will publish the results of it, of the like rehearsal proposal. So currently the USDC supply on testnet is like something around the lines of 100 million. And it's supposed to be 90 million after the proposal passes. So the time frame until the rehearsal is finished is like 8 hours or something like that. And after that, I'm going to put up proposal on CW because I want to go the full route, like through all the governance instances. That's going to sit there like 7 days, and then Then I'm going to put up the proposal, and that's another 7 days. So it might be, let me just check. It might be that the mainnet proposal may actually pass end of if it passes. I'm not sure about that. So if it passes, then it's going to pass like around end of February.
That's good. That's exactly when I thought it was going to land theoretically, and I was saying if it didn't, we should probably try to ensure that it lands around the same time as the Binance burn, getting a substantial Binance burn and a substantial USTC burn. It's a double whammy, you know. It's not even two birds with one stone. It's two stones with one bird at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's a happy coincidence. I actually I didn't thought about it, so I just finalized this migration contract that I have on this repository on my GitHub account. And I mean, it happens. It happened that I had time the last few weeks to finalize it, um, and that the anticipated proposal passing is going to be like maybe end of February. That's happy coincidence too, right?
Definitely. At the end of month is probably the best timing for this, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah.
So, controversial question before we move forward: the USTC supply in the community pool, to burn or not to burn? What do you think?
Oh, in my opinion, it should be burned and not used for funding. We should just use we should just use LUNC um, for funding, because in my opinion, even the markets from what I have seen, or from what I am aware of, the markets on like CE for USDCs, they are pretty shallow.
Yeah, the market books are tiny. The liquidity is very small, to say the least.
Yeah, like the books are pretty shallow, and I'm not sure. I mean, we could take the USDC that is in a community pool and slowly bleed it into these books. Yeah, but
For me, there's two ways you could do this: burn it all, or
yeah,
start doing what you just said and start trying to build these order books back up, start to get flow back into things. But I personally think it should just be burned. I think we're at a point now with the court case, with everything that's going on. It's clear USTC is going to be in question throughout the thing. So for me, it's like the variable that you could just sort of, you could use it as a good point, and the good point would be burning.
yeah. I mean, there's another option that could be used, like using LUNC and USDC funded into some kind of contract, and then use it to increase decentralized liquidity on markets like White Whale, Terraport, or even TerraSwap. I mean, the markets there are pretty shallow as well. And
I mean, even Astroport, because it's more or less down to us as a blockchain now to get Astroport back up and running. It could even be
yeah,
used there, couldn't it?
it could, yeah, if it worked.
Yeah, and
um,
this is the big issue at the moment that and as much as people want to ignore it, and as much as, you know, this, that, and the other, the bite to crunch here, the cookie crumble, is literally the chain does not have its own tools. So it's reliant on third parties. So the chain's not realistically benefiting as much as it should be. So therefore, you know, the chain
mm,
lags behind. It doesn't get the treatment it should. And, you know, it's, for me, we should have all of our own tools at this point, and that USTC could be used to fill, all of these different pools, to get swapping pools going between white whale and all those, but actually between the chain and Terraport, or the chain and white whale, so to speak, not just going balls deep and doing it all in these third party things, because ultimately the chain is just going to keep suffering and suffering and suffering.
I don't agree really. So I mean, it's correct that these like tools like white whale, Terraport, these tools are third party tools. That's totally correct, and they don't belong to the chain, and they have kind of their own interest basically. But you have to take into account that when the community provides liquidity on these platforms, that they are going to, like, maybe they may suffer like impermanent loss, but we know that like UCC and LUNC, they are highly correlated.
Yeah, definitely symbiotic.
Maybe the risk of impermanent loss is not too high, and on the same page you could like earn some yield for the community, and like I mean, liquidity providers, they earn the swapping fees, and so the community would have a chance to like increase the community pool, or like earn some yield on their assets, and using them to fund development. And the other thing, so by increasing the liquidity of third party platforms like white whale, you also open up these markets to collaboration with other projects that are like swapping on these markets, like for example, like
100%,
some kind of liquid staking assets that are traded on white whale, like these Ares protocol, for example. So the USDC and the community pool could actually be put to use, but in my opinion, it should not be used to directly fund development.
No, definitely not, because it just gets dumped out into the market. It will crush the price. The symbiotic relationship will also then crush our price even further.
So
our chain's very circumstantial, in my opinion. So like this third party thing, right? It's not that I'm against them. It's not that I don't like them or I dislike them. It's nothing personal for me. It's all circumstantial, right? So if we look at any blockchain, it launches, it grows, it develops all of its own tools. It has normally all of its own stuff, and then all of the third parties come. And normally it doesn't matter. At that point, it's great. More people are building off of your blockchain, and hopefully they're using the LUNC coin as a native asset, not their sort of own native asset. But ultimately, it's circumstantial, if that makes sense. Because we're not a chain that built up with all of its own tools. So we don't have all of the swapping stuff for them to build off of, or for them to branch off of, to connect with. So ultimately, what's happening is the actual LUNC chain kind of gets put to the side, and the diversion is actually to more or less say, let's use just white whale. We'll do everything between white whale, and then you're not really using Station, you're not really using the apps, you start to do more and more off the actual chain. So, and because LUNC is not a native asset, by it comes to crunch, it's not. But it's all circumstantial, right? Normally this would be really good. Normally it would be really good, but we're just not a chain that's in a good position at the moment, where we have our own Astroport that works for us and we own it. We don't have our own apps and all of these different things. And because we're decentralized, right? We don't have a centralized body to act on our behalf to get our own app, to do all of our own things. So it all becomes very circumstantial.
Yeah, but isn't Astroport a third-party app as well?
Yes, but they handed the code base off to the L1, didn't they? And they were just like, look, here's a build, call it whatever you want. P in it and call it
Yeah,
Granny's
no. I mean,
HT.
they just leave. They just left their own project, so they.
Well, they just left the classic version of it. They're still working on other chains, as far as I'm
So,
aware.
and I mean, even TerraSwap. So back before the crash, I mean, TerraSwap um, was like TerraSwap was the first DEX on like the old Terra chain, as far as I remember. And this was like it was a third party tool as well. So I mean, the thing is, or what's important is that there are dApps. Doesn't matter whether they are chain owned or like third party owned or whatever. There are dApps, and these are like generating transactions. So that's in my opinion everything that matters.
Definitely, I agree. Circumstantial, right?
Yeah.
So, the the underlying issue that no one's talking about at the moment, double nodes, people having multiple nodes. What's your opinion on this?
Um, it's so you mean the Sybil kind of thing?
Yeah, some people are
Which
calling
means,
it a Sybil attack, but it's not at that point yet, I wouldn't say. People are just double sleeving, in my opinion.
um, so my opinion on this, or my take on this, is that you can't do much about like sibling. I mean, I heard community members who said like, let's jail these validators, or like some kind of punishment. But in my opinion, that would go against like decentralization, and it would go against censorship, um, or like it would be censorship in some kind of way. Um, so I mean, every person on the chain has like, how do you say in English? I don't know. Every person uh, has a like they know what's right and what's wrong, right? So and
Yes.
when they think doing like a second validator that has even the same name as the first validator, just with a version tag, then I mean then clearly the person doesn't know what's right. Um, and a chain like a decentralized chain should rely on people that know what's right and what's wrong. And we can't
Circumstances.
we can't enforce people like to shut their validators down because they are not doing the right thing. Um, and there's no like way you can detect. I mean,
There is a
where
way. There is a way you can detect if someone's running their hardware in the same. Like, there's a way to figure it out because I know
yeah,
LUNC DAO
but
has five
where do you want?
nodes.
Yeah, I mean it's all correct, but I mean, where do you want to pull the like where do you want to pull the trigger? I mean,
Well, I
there,
personally think so. My video that I did yesterday is this is all to go over, up, and around the DCM. This is all because of the DCM. Terraport, they're a little bit different because they run 3 nodes on chain, even though each one of them have different names. It's all one person. So it's not just a couple people that are doing this. Like, literally everybody's starting to do this now. So the active set's been dropped. All these people, it's not looking good. So like I was saying in my video, at this point, the only way for me to like get my supporters to support me would be now to spin up 2 extra nodes, so I've got 3, and then just say to everybody who wants to support me, look, if this one goes up to 10%, then just move to number 2 or move to number 3, because this is what everybody else is doing. So for me, you can't bottleneck this thing. You cannot prevent people from spinning up and double sleeving. Right?
yeah,
You just
correct.
can't, unless you start to jail people based on information and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Again,
correct.
censorship. So where does that leave us? Like for me, I was saying the DCM's done all it could do. Like there's only so far you can push something before it reaches a stage of where you're not going to get it to go any further. And now people are starting to double sleeve. It's yeah, it's not. And like we're just saying, right? There's nothing we can really do. But for me,
There's nothing, and in my opinion, you shouldn't start. I mean, there is no like central entity that would be able to collect all evidence and then make a judgment based on that. So I mean, the chain only has legislation, but it has only legislation, but it doesn't have any kind of jurisdiction. The only kind of jurisdiction that the chain has is like its code. So that's the like the motto of code is law. And I mean, there are like punishments, like validator punishment protocols, protocol routines inside the chain. And you can make them work, you can extend them, like validator misbehavior, any kind of, you can maybe detect validator
I mean,
some
there's
other
a
kind of
we
validator misbehavior, but you can't detect the Sybil misbehavior.
yes, yes, and there's all sorts of different things that we can do. I mean, we've had some fascinating conversations. You and I, I've learned a lot from you. But there are means and ways to do this. But for me, like I said, right, this is a bottleneck you can't prevent. But what you can do is remove the system that's causing the bottleneck. And at this point, like I said, everybody's going up, around, and over the DCM.
Okay. So you think the DCM is incentivizing people, or like
Yes.
not
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
incentivizing, but
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Because otherwise, he wouldn't spin up another node. He wouldn't need to spin up another node. He would just have the one node. But
And
once,
then
like
just
for me, and
lower
I
his.
know a lot of people disagree with this, but
uh,
I am someone on this blockchain that's been here from the very beginning. And I mean, I got evidence that shows I was near the first person to talk about anything to do with this blockchain when it was dying. I was there throughout the crash. I don't believe anybody should have a position on this blockchain unless it's been earned. 0% commissions are the key to allowing people to do absolutely nothing but sit on Twitter, say that they've got 0% commission rates, okay, and just do nothing. Right? We
Mhm.
need, like, if like my community know this best, right? If every single person had done what me and Strafe have done, created LUNC Dash, created the AC module, created all of the different burn systems, the burn portal, everything that we did, right? If every single individual validator had done the identical amount of work we'd done, but on a different system, this chain would be booming, frag. But the
Mhm.
issue is, right, and you know this best, right, is that the majority of the validator set is just built up from Luna validators. The other majority is built up from what I call paper-made nodes. And it's just so easy to basically do nothing on this blockchain but get paid. And for me, like I said, you've got all of these bottlenecks in place. You've got people double sleeving. Like you're not all nodes, their commission isn't going down any lower. All of these big nodes, this was all accumulated during the time when there was only 66 nodes on the chain. And they
Mhm.
were, I think me and Stray figured it out. And I don't even want to tell anybody the numbers because it makes me feel sick. But they got a serious amount out of this blockchain before any of us could start validating again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and it's sad. It's sad for me because the DCM was created in order to improve the decentralization of the chain. It was created to improve the Nakamoto coefficient, and in theory, well, not in theory, in practicality, it's having the total opposite effect. They've reduced the active set down to 100, and I know a lot of people agree with that. I personally don't. We need room for the little people, the people that don't mean anything, that are trying to build themselves up and do all of these different things. It's crazy. Like all of the game projects on this chain don't even have validators. They've got no chance of getting inside the active set.
Mm.
So
yeah, correct. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
because me and Strafe, we've been talking, and shout out to Strafe if he has listened to this. He's probably not because he's always so busy. But we've been saying, and the same as me and you, how can we change the thresholds of the DCM? And you just can't. There's no way that you can change it to make it work better. Like I think it's at the optimum point it can be at. But at this point, I personally think it needs to be proposed to just remove it, reinforce 5% commission, minimum commissions, and then enforce a cap like me and you spoke about before, Frag, right? And correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's a way to introduce a cap so that, say someone like All Nodes has got, I'm just making these numbers up, they've got 25% voting power, the max cap's 10%. There's a way to ensure they only actually get like the cap, and the remainder, say the 15%, would just cycle back into the Oracle rewards pool.
Okay. I thought you were talking about like a cap in voting power, but you mean like a cap in rewards that they can pull out of the Oracle pool.
Well, yeah, but voting power equals rewards. But yeah, pretty much, you would make the max voting power that you can have is just 10%, right? So even if a valid, because
20%, 20.
But do you get what I'm saying? Like, we can't force their delegators to leave them. We can't force them to do that, but you can alter the code base so that they would only get 10% distro, not 20% distro.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that could be done. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, we've got to do something. The last time this chain made a big move was around the DCM, and I personally think it's done everything it could do. Like, we're at a point now where we've got to try something new, because the eventuality of all of this is, right, as much as we're sitting and saying, well, it's wrong to double sleeve, it's wrong to have two nodes, and we know this, and the community knows this, it's not stopping people from doing it. So ultimately, everybody's going to be on the same playing field. Well, they're doing it, I'm going to have to do it. And it hurts me that in my comment section every day, it's, oh, dude, I can't stake with you because your commission goes up to 10%. Meanwhile, you've got some guy claiming he's getting visions from Gbus and running two nodes. You've got Terraport who have got 3 nodes on the chain. So the community are not really, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the world, the reward system is like built into the Oracle module and into the Cosmos SDK. And I mean, we could think about changing like the reward system. But from my knowledge, I mean, the rewards are mainly coming from the Oracle pool by voting Oracle, or by doing Oracle votes, which means like reporting the price of several fiat denoms in LUNC. Every like 30 seconds, and then you get like a reward out of the Oracle pool for your vote based on your voting power. And I guess that system could be like changed to a more equal system where every Oracle participant is rewarded the same amount. I mean, in order to make any decent ideas, I would have to recheck the like whole Oracle rewards pool code. I would have to recheck that in order to make any kind of idea.
I can hear your brain from over here in England. I can hear it. But no, I'm glad you're seeing what I'm seeing here, though. Ultimately, you've got to face the facts in this situation as much as it hurts. You got to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I created the module, so
Yeah,
I'm kind of
I know.
I'm kind of in love with it.
I know. This is the thing, like, and this is what for me makes the difference with people like us is that we never stop trying, we never stop pushing. You know, we just keep moving onwards and just trying to keep making things better for this blockchain. I mean, you're a volunteer, Frag, right? You yourself haven't been paid for a long time. A long time.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I didn't contribute as much as like in the quarters 1 and 2. So it's natural that because of like, I mean, when I was in quarter 1 and quarter 2, I actually reduced my working hours in my in real life job to make that like work and do stuff for the chain. But now after like Q2 in 23, I mean I like went back to my in real life job in full time. So it's naturally that the rate of contributions dropped, of course. So
No, for me as well, like I'm the same as you. I've absolutely never been paid a penny from this blockchain, never taken a community spend or anything like that. But you know, I'm currently sat in my office on site with my tiny mic, my laptop, doing this podcast. You know, we just fit in when we can, so to speak. It's not, you know, a lot of us like you, Frag, we're all working in real life to actually be here to contribute.
yeah. I mean, I'm sitting there every night and doing something.
Well, you guys are hardcore, literally. It's for me, okay, so development work is totally unsung work. I learned this over the past year. The first year, I didn't have as much of an insight behind the scenes as I do now. Jesus, it's so unsung. It's so unsung, and people like you never quite get the thanks you're owed. Like Strafe sent me some stuff last night, and he's like, "Yeah," he sent me 2 copies. He's like, "It looks totally the same to me." I was
Yeah.
like, looked at it, and it's just like loads of lines of code. I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I agree. It looks exactly the same." It's like I
Yeah.
couldn't tell anything.
Yeah, I mean, like I posted that yesterday on like X or Twitter. That and I wasn't quite aware of that. That Vin actually worked for free in quarter like 4, in order to like fork the test tube from Osmosis, and to make that work with Terra Classic, in order to simulate the chain's environment for contract testing. And he used that fork in order to test his repair of Astroport. So, and then he said, like, I fixed Astroport, or like the contracts, I fixed them. And now it's off to the chain, or off to the people on the chain to like take these contracts and deploy them and do everything work, and like the front end needs to be fixed and something like that. And all he's getting is like, why didn't you fix the contracts? So like I don't see them working. So that's the thanks he got from all that off.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's a real kick in the nuts for people like him. With what's been going on recently with the Genuine Labs now proposing L1 work for half the cost and stuff, like I'm like, oh my God, these guys have been working since last year, the 6th month of the year, the 29th day of the 6th month to be specific, is the last time they got paid anything. I don't know
yeah.
any people on this chain other than like all of us who are actually doing work. And like you got like there's been so much work that's been done since then. The amount of maintenance that goes into things is insane. Like, yeah. So, Frag, what do you think about this change now? Because obviously, with Vin's new approach, with the community, everything that surrounded the pay per job situation, what do you think now about the community approving code to being merged into the code base and it all boiling down to a governance vote now?
So I mean, like, I think that PPJ is actually a good idea, good thing to drive decentralized development. So it's like someone coming to you, proposing something, and you say, "Oh yeah, let's do that. That's actually a good idea." But I think the current PPJ, like in its current states, has some flaws. I mean, I voted yes for it, but it has some flaws, in my opinion. Like,
Definitely,
I'm, I
definitely.
mean, I can totally understand that Vin doesn't want to go ahead, like with. I mean, he doesn't want to go to a bank and then request like a loan from them in order to make a proposal, like in order to rent servers to test his stuff, and then go to the community, and say like, listen, I want to do these kinds of upgrades, like, and I have to propose them all in one package because they are all like interdependent. And like, I'm requesting all the money after I've done the work, when actually he has to do like renting servers, testing them on like custom nodes, or custom test nets, or like running even a mainnet node to test some stuff. And he has to pay for that all like upfront. And that's something that needs, that needs to be changed.
100%. The fact that they got denied, right, for combining some work together, and then Genuine Labs combine work together. They propose, they get passed, and the L1 can get completely shunned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not totally sure how they do that. So I mean,
It's a massive kick
obviously,
in the nuts. It's a
I
massive
mean,
kick in the nuts.
obviously, like, in my opinion, it's like that Genuine Labs. I mean, they do the work, they do pull requests, and then they leave the liability, or like they leave the amount of work that is to be done to test it and to like deploy it on chain. They leave it to the the owners of the repository.
I have to clap. I just have to clap right now. At least somebody else is
I'm
seeing
not.
the
I'm
real
not saying
picture.
no. No. Probably you misunderstood me. I'm just. I'm a big fan of like Genuine
No,
Labs,
so
and
am I. So
they
am I.
they
But I'm
they,
also a
they did
fan
a
of.
they did like great work with the like E2E testing, interchain
Yep.
testing, integrating IBC hooks, and all that. Um, and but I mean the review and like merging that all that stuff into the into the chain's code, that was left to us.
Yep.
And I mean, we have to run like nodes in order to test this and that stuff, but they don't have to, because they just rely on us like reviewing it and testing it.
Yep. Yep. And I said this in one of my previous videos, the fact that, the work's great. Okay. I'm not disputing that. The work's great. It's there, but they've done half a job, in my opinion. And they've been paid.
Yeah, I mean, that's rather.
Frag, you know how often bugs come up. Like, we've had some of the like most weirdest, atrocious bugs I've ever seen. They happen, right? You can't dictate and determine when these bugs are gonna kick up. Like, we're reactivating stuff that this chain has not operated with since like 2 years ago.
Hmm.
So for me, like you've been saying, right? They've got it to a point. Oh, the work's been done. We've been paid. Okay, now it's down to a group of people who have been denied payment, right? Who have been maintaining the code base like this whole time. It's crazy. And once again, it boils down to people like you guys to go through, do the reviews and everything. Because even though the community is going to review this, or supposedly going to review this, and validators are going to review this, and it will be approved to a proposal, right? You guys have still had to go through and check this. Strafe had to take time out to go through and check it, even though he's not responsible for that. And same with
Yeah.
you. It's it's all circumstantial. This is what annoys me a lot about this chain.
Yeah. I mean, I'm running like testnet nodes and test mainnet nodes, and I'm paying for them out of my own pocket.
And those can range. I mean, it can range from like what, $50 a month for something to up to like 500,
yeah,
sometimes 1,000.
when you run a mainnet node, it doesn't matter whether it's like a validator or then you pay at least 120 euros. I don't know what's that in pound.
I think it's about like £98 maybe. Someone's gonna be
Yeah.
in the comments like, no, it's not. He's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, when you run a single node, then you have to pay like 120 euros for like a dedicated server with enough like disk space and RAM and all that stuff.
Yep.
And when you want to run a validator, then I mean, it's recommended to run it as one node and then two additional nodes which kind of act like sentry nodes. So yeah, I mean that sums up a bit. Like that's $360 euros, all right, already. So
Yep. That's what I say to a lot of people. Like a lot of people, it's not all rainbows and daisies. It's
yeah, and I
definitely
mean
not.
you have to run. Basically, what for example, Superman, what he did, he ran like a mainnet node, and then, for example, tested whether some kind of change that he made, whether that was state breaking or not. So, because sometimes it's not very obvious. I had that actually today. I worked with Strath this morning, and we tracked down some kind of error or like bug. And then we said like, okay, yeah, just let's fix the node. Let's just patch it, and that's probably not state breaking. And guess what? It was state breaking. So, but in order to test that, we had to like run this node and like run it on testnet and install it and have the environment ready. And
I think the
yeah, and
last.
in order to have the environment ready, you need to pay for the service. You need to
Yep.
pay for the service for like, yeah, you have to pay rent. And in the current, it seems to me like I don't have evidence for any of that, what I'm saying, but it seems to me like they are doing the work, like Genuine Labs doing the work, and then they leave it to the repository owners to merge that stuff.
Yep. And then going on straight afterwards to propose their work for half the price, half the time. It's like, oh, cheers, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, probably just, I mean, my idea or my ideal world would be some kind of like doing it together, like doing the work that Genuine Labs proposed and that Vin proposed, that like doing it together.
Yeah.
And
It's like a
find
coalition.
find some kind of middle ground. Because with the I mean, they did a good job with the E2E testing and the interchain testing, and then fixing the IBC hooks that I have set up previously. They did a good job, and I would like to work with them together. I see no problem with that, and yeah, that's pretty much
It's so
what it.
I find it so stressful a lot of the times with all of this kind of stuff that all of you guys are always willing to find the middle ground. All of you guys have always been, whether there's been negative energy, positive energy, whatever. We're always willing to meet people in the middle. So hopefully they can, meet you guys in the middle and get this testing done, because ultimately, as it sits right now, it's still sat there. It's still not merged. It's still not implemented, but they've been paid. And we're kind of back to this square one kind of thing of just jumping the gun. And I know for a lot of people, they do the thing out of politeness, oh, well, they've done the work, we should pay them. And then everybody sort of gets emotion trapped into saying yes to them because you'll be the odd duck out. Well, I personally didn't even vote on it. I didn't even abstain on the thing, but it's definitely something that needs to be addressed.
But I mean, it's like it's kind of nice because even though they have been already paid by the community pool, they are still responsive on our requests. So like they, it's not like they receive the payment and then okay, that's now it's up to you, or like they are still responsive, and it's good to see.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing. I think they're going to be KYCing soon, aren't
they? Yeah. They have no problem. So from my knowledge, they don't have any problem with the KYC thing.
I forgot to bring I've got a copy of a load of comments I had specifically for this podcast to bring up, and they were all, there's like the narrative are like, oh, they've introduced KYC and now all the devs are leaving. So hang on a minute, mate. What devs have left? I don't see any. They're like, oh, they're scaring away the developers. Hang on a minute, right? The LUNC development team wanted to develop on this chain. They proposed, got absolutely targeted by the narrative, and now they're too scared. So it's like it's mirror politics at its finest of all of this stuff. Really is mirror politics.
I mean, like when you look into the broader cosmos, then the KYC thing is like, it's not taken seriously. So, I mean, in a broader Cosmos community, that's more kind of a joke.
Yeah.
The whole KYC. I personally voted no for that.
I know you did. Yeah, I know you did.
And kind of, because I mean, the first thing, I mean, this was like how hours after the KYC proposal passed, was like, or like the next proposal, I'm not sure what that was. Like there are some follow-up proposals, and then there was like the interstellar launch voting, or like doing some, I don't quite remember. He did some kind of
potty mouth lounge. That's what I call him.
He did some kind of ridiculous comment, and it actually matched totally to what I said in my reasoning for the 12033 proposal, that validators are going to like take that KYC proposal literally. So like they are going to like block everything. Like they are going to say like, I need your passport, otherwise you are not KYC'd. So like this kind of ridiculous stuff is happening now. Like, so the interstellar launch, they said like, I'm going to need your passport in order to like like in order to approve any upgrades that are coming in the future, and you cannot contribute any work when I don't have your passport.
It reminds me of my son whenever like he comes up with something crazy and then he doesn't get his way and then he just starts assuming everything. And he's like, oh, throwing all of his toys out of the pram like a 5-year-old. And it's like, Jesus, is this what, like, it's straight away, we're all going to have to give our passports up now, are we? And it's like, no, nobody said that. But yeah, a lot of, so what I've learned as well, I've learned quite a lot throughout this journey, I must admit. But something I've learned is the narrative prey on a bad proposal. And they want us to like sit and like not sulk about it, but sort of be uncertain of how to proceed next. And all I think now with myself is, okay, the KYC, there's a couple of kinks that need to be ironed out. Follow-up proposal, a follow-up proposal should just straight as soon as it passes, okay, right, we've got some new iterations to make, we want to add this, we want to remove this, we want to cross this T, we're going to dot this I. Let's propose it. Okay, it's been accepted. This is the new reiterated version of the KYC system. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Interstellar launch, they voted no with veto on the original KYC proposal. And they are voting no with veto on the proposal that actually wanted to like dissolve one of the requirements of KYC. Like that's ridiculous, isn't it? So because I mean,
it's more than ridiculous. He's just being spiteful.
It sounds to me kind of like he just wants to block everything right now because he's kind of like, I don't know, because he has a problem that like KYC 12033 proposal passed. I don't know. Still not makes me a fan of KYC, but I think the behavior of some of the validators.
It's over the top. It's like overly dramatic.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I don't know.
So like a lot of them, they're we're so decentralized, right? We are so decentralized at this point. We need it. We need it for chain security because we just don't know who's who and what's what. We've already been given the runaround. We've got one guy who's pretending to probably be about 30 people on chain. Yeah, it's, if we look at the broader cosmos, okay, KYC, they're a little bit with it, but they've all got centralized development teams that they know that are doxed. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Even Luna's got a CertiK audit. So
yeah.
I
mean, but yeah, the KYC proposal that shouldn't have been like in the way of like KYC everyone that works on a chain or KYC every single contributor. It should have been along the lines of, in my opinion, it should have been along the lines of like having a central, like a team, or like I'm saying centralized because like a team that manages the work, that manages the workload. And there should be like this kind of team that manages all the work and that is KYC through like some kind of KYC team badge. I mean, none of the like, even the individual KYC was actually not in the original portfolio of Solid Proof. Like they agreed with Strath that they will make some kind of extra thingy for like developers on Luna Classic to make this kind of individual KYC, because all the KYC that's normally around is like for example the CertiK, like the KYC badge, which is granted for teams, but not for like individuals. And in my opinion, that should have been like the narrative, like having a team that is KYC'd, or like when you want to be a team that works on Terra Classic, then you have to have that kind of KYC badge from Certic, or like the solid proof KYC badge or whatever. But this kind of like trying to make individual contributors liable, or making individuals having been KYC, that, I mean, that's kind of, that's not my
the
way.
liability thing is definitely an issue. We were talking about, there should realistically be not even guidelines, but there should be like legislation that specifically gets added for this, because you've got you've got a few proposals. I'll bring them up on screen. You've got a few proposals up at the moment regarding KYC. You've got contributions without KYC, and then adding Certic as a recognized KYC provider. And I don't think anyone should be limited to what provider they could use, as long as it is a trusted company, they're reputable, and it's not someone spun up a KYC company overnight.
I mean, I trust Strath and all that solid proof is not a provider that was spun up after the proposal was put up, the 12033. It was a provider that was actually there before the proposal was even in the talks. So I mean, the fact that the proposal actually states a single like third-party entity,
that was
to accept payment for a service, that kind of sounds.
It was my first reaction. Like, hang on a minute, I think you need to add more people than just yourself.
It's solid proof because they I think they are they are also doing their contract audits, and
I think it's good. It gives our blockchain someone to go to in that situation. When you've got a project or you need certain things auditing, at least you can go to someone. But definitely adding as many providers as possible, because there's a middle ground here for me, right? You've got one side of this that say, oh well, KYC's it costs money, and there might not be developers that can afford to do that. And then my side of this is, well, honestly, if a developer can't afford to KYC, then I'm probably not going to be very interested in this person developing on chain, because they've probably not got their life in order. And with all due respect, right, this is crypto. It moves fast. We need the best of the best at all times, in my opinion. Although we don't have that, that's the optimum for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the question where do we want to draw the line? Like is 100 euros or $100, is that too much? Is that too, like, I don't know. I can't go ahead and just like throw 100 euros into the oblivion, like, or it's not really oblivion, but
exactly. We're all adults. Well, I hope we're all adults.
That I'm simply to like take 100 euros and just give it some third party to like do my voluntary contributions to Terra Classic. So I'm doing it from my validator rewards now. So but that means at the same time that I cannot pay my validator nodes again. So it's all like, I don't want to complain too much.
No, I feel you there. It's such a sticky situation. I'm in that boat as well, with all of the different backends we have for all of the sites, the AC module, everything. what I get from my validator just covers my running costs at this point. It's not, it's just about like evens itself out. But like, once again, like you're saying, right, it's just one of those ones a lot of the time. So hopefully with the DCM, people can start to support people properly again, instead of it all being cycled round and people just sort of chasing greediness. It's never really going to get out of chain anywhere. So I've got on my screen right now, I've got governance up. Thoughts on hidden voting results? This is such a bad idea in my opinion. Like, it's the last thing you want is the lights turn off on this chain so you can't see who's voting what. It'd be chaos.
I mean, it's so I can kind of understand the intent of the vote, or like the proposal, because I mean, in real life, like in Germany at least, the votes that we are doing are like secret, and only after the votes are closed, the results are going to be published. So I kind of understand the general idea, because the voting results should not influence anyone who's going to vote for the proposals. Only the reasoning on the proposal should influence the vote. But at the same time, I'm saying, so I mean, it's a proof of stake blockchain, and like it's a public blockchain. Every transaction is transparent, and you cannot hide the voting transactions.
Yeah.
Like when a validator votes, then the transaction says what he voted. And even if you hide all the endpoints, like, I mean, you have some kind of endpoints on the blockchain that
It
allows
still won't
you
work. You can just directly ask the blockchain to give you the
all the
results. It's
votes.
not.
Yeah, you can always, like, even if you hide all the results that are like internally fetched into the blockchain or cached, you can still go ahead and just collect all the votes of all validators and then just reconstruct all the information. And
Yep. And basically, all you would do in that situation is just hide it from the people who are not so technical enough to go in and do it. You'll introduce dirty politics, which we already have enough of, where someone could simply say to you throughout the vote, "Oh, yeah, I'm voting yeah." And they get to the end, it's like find out they voted no. It's like, Jesus, you can't trust anyone at that point. But yeah, I think we both see both sides of this. Yeah. So
I mean, I saw Matthew. I saw Matthew complaining about like validators voting no on this.
yeah,
But I like repeatedly stated to him, bro, it's not possible to hide the voting results. Like, and when you do, when you like hide it from like front ends or like from accessible toolings, then you are going to introduce some kind of like information bias.
yeah. So I don't talk publicly on Twitter. I think you know this. Like, I won't, if you see me commenting back to someone on Twitter, I'm probably just having one of those days where I just want to sort of like be an idiot. But I don't bicker with people on Twitter. So he's been going out, he's been saying all of this stuff, and all of his screenshots they always have my node in it. And he's like, yeah, who's validators voting no and stuff. And it's like, bro, come on. But like, I won't engage like that. So what I'll do is I'll DM someone. The guy doesn't even read his DMs from me. I'm an influencer. I'm a YouTuber. I'm like, and he doesn't even reply to me. So he can't expect, right, to sit there, whinge, moan on Twitter as much as the guy's got a huge following and he's got so many loyal supporters. I'm sorry if this upsets you, but ultimately you can't go out, you can't moan, right, and then not respond or talk to validators in private when we're saying to you, these are the reasons why it won't work, Matt. This is why it won't work. This is why it's a bad idea, and this is why even if you could do it, you shouldn't do it. The guy doesn't even read his DMs. So yeah, I don't know what, if you're proposing something, you better go around. You need to speak to, we're not all in some group. I don't know if a lot of validators are. I know there are groups out there, but I'm not. You've got to come speak to me one-to-one. I'm not going to engage in a bickering match between me and yourself. So your following it's weird to me. It all seems like a move to sort of look as if he's really pushing on something, and we're all the bad characters in this, and we're gatekeeping the chain, and we're getting loads of money. It's like we're not. So yeah, very interesting. It's a very interesting time to be on this chain, to be quite honest. Throughout the recording of this podcast, Frag, the price is moving up. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, we're almost 50-60% up from the third of this month. So it's really good. So hopefully everything lands in the correct times, Frag, for this big burn. I know a lot of people are going to be very excited for this.
Yeah, let's hope. But I mean, if something goes wrong, we shouldn't hurry it.
Yeah, definitely. And like I was saying earlier, folks, go back, watch my videos, and look at what happened last time. The exact same percent of the supply was burned. Circumstances, right? Don't ride your bike in a shop and all that stuff. So it could play out different, but none of us have got a crystal ball, and this is a thing that's happening through governance. Nobody has control over it. It's just going to go through the process. So
yeah, correct. And don't spread any hopium on the time.
Yeah, all of you shillers. I don't want to see none of you guys shilling. All right. Frag, any end comments here? Just we're coming into the end of this, dude.
No, I'm just was happy to be here. It's nice to have the talk. Was quite fun.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing another one next week, Frag. And I think that's the one with me, you, and Strafe. I think we pushed it forward, but I don't think you've got the memo yet. Strafe's definitely got the memo.
No, I don't have.
Well, you just got the memo.
No, I don't have. I mean, the last time it kind of
busy day.
Possible from your side or something like that, and we didn't arrange another. So I'm not aware of any other appointment.
Appointment.
Let me know.
Let me do. Oh, hilarious. All right, guys, look, I appreciate everybody tuning in here. I hope you got some useful information. Both of us validate the chain. If you want to delegate with us, we're there, we're available. But honestly, guys, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Other than that, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and we'll catch you in the next podcast.